screen yet?
Yes.
I can.
Okay,
Don't know why my video is not working.
so I will stop sharing that and I'll share it when it's time. If I can.
Looks like we're getting some people filtering in here. Hi, everybody.
Hello. Hope everyone is doing well. I hope everyone's about to have a great weekend.
Yes.
Right.
I'll start it in about 2 minutes. As soon as I see 11:02, I'll give it a start.
Sounds good.
Cool.
What up, fam?
How's it going, Peter?
Good, good. Jeremiah, where are you going? I feel like every roundtable you've been on the road.
Just 2, brother. Last time I was up in Canada. This time I'm going to meet our buddy Dave down in Chicago. So he and I and his kids are gonna go rock it out for about 3 days.
Chicago's so much fun. Such good food.
Good food, good
Really
music.
shirtless, Jeremiah? Driving around?
No, I got a tank top on.
Nice.
What's up, guys?
What's up, JD?
Oh, not much. Just trying to clear out my new activity status widget for the weekends.
How's everyone liking that thing? Has everyone got still loving it after a week?
I spent a lot of time with it, but I guess I'm just getting used to it.
This new iOS update was wild.
Hey, Molly, welcome.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
Yeah, Molly, welcome aboard. Welcome to the team. Welcome to Friday.
Thank you.
Hi,
It's
Molly.
good to see everyone's faces.
Hey, Molly.
Yeah, be on this
Hello.
call. So.
All right, team, I'm going to go ahead and get this started. I'm going to keep it super short because I'm driving right now and that's not safe. But I'm going to turn this over to Sammy, Britt, and B here in just a second. And then I'm going to turn my video off. And the only thing I wanted to mention is there's going to be no roundtable next week. Take next week off. And then we'll get started again the first Friday in October. I'm going to do a presentation that first Friday in October. And I will just kind of release that the Wednesday before. So without further ado, I'm going to turn this over to the team, and then I hope you all have a wonderful weekend. They're going to close the meeting, and I'm going to stay on and listen. So take it away, guys.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for being here today. We're just going to have a really informal, casual conversation about marketing. I've got B and Britt here, and we did a little prep earlier in the week just to kind of pull the curtain back, give you some really good vibes about marketing, give you some insight that you might not know. You might want to jot down some notes. I think the main purpose of this meeting is just to give you another good reason to market your jobs and make sure that you're marketing yourself out there to physicians. So let's get started. I'm going to share my screen here, which I am not a professional at. So hold on with me just a second. I lose my... I did. Lost my marketing thing. Let me see here. PowerPoint. Hold on. I had it all set up and then I clicked off of it. So now, of course, I can't find it.
I have a tab organizer, and I'm still not organized and can find tabs.
Well, I can find it. I can see it. I just don't know how to get the share screen to it. Like I'm looking at it right now. I just don't know how to get the share screen to it. Let's see here. All right. Well, can you guys still see me, or do you see my screen yet?
I could see you.
I just see
Okay,
you.
hold on a second. I'm going to exit out real quick and come back in. That worked last time, so hold on just a second.
Okay.
Anybody been getting an error on uploading CVs into physician files saying the file's too big?
If the file is over 1 megabyte, it'll do that every time.
It's not.
Isn't there an easy way to like condense that?
If you ever need me to compress a PDF or a
Yeah.
Word doc, I can absolutely do that for you.
Okay, sick.
Yeah,
Thank
just
you.
send it to me.
Just put in the chat a free resource for doing just that.
Thank you,
I was gonna
Ian.
say, I thought you had told me about that.
Yeah.
before.
The one I just put in there actually was courtesy of Tom Langley. The one I found initially is no longer free.
no,
Finally
free.
went behind a paywall.
All right, so I can't get this to work, so I'll just read off of my I'll read off of my slides here. So basically what we're going to talk about today is like a marketing overview, okay? So with physician recruiting marketing, what we're looking at in terms of, hold on a second, not now, okay, that video, okay, here we go. Okay, so in terms of physician recruiting marketing, the things that we focus on the most are making sure that you look available, making sure that you look trusted and professional in the world of physician recruiting. And there's a couple ways that we do that, right? We do it through, we have our website, physicianrecruiting.com. We also work with 12 other trusted sources. That's who you're seeing on your contact. That's who you're seeing that your leads come in with Doc Cafe and all of our other sources. We have about 12 sources that we work with, and we spend about, last time I looked with everything, we're at about $345,000 a year working with those 12 sources to make sure that you get the best candidates responding to our jobs on the market and candidates that are just looking for jobs in general. So we make sure that you are out there, your name's out there, your jobs are out there, and that we're getting those responses to you either through our systems, through info@physicianrecruiting.com, or they're coming, we try to take that out of the mix as much as possible and put you directly in contact with your job responders as quickly as possible. So when you think about what your success rates are, when your marketing is, when your leads are kind of slowing down and you're trying to build up your pipeline, one thing you can do is think about marketing, right? So one avenue of that, and Britt's going to talk about this later in detail, is our Crush program. So making sure that you have, I would say, 2 jobs a week. That's what we're going to talk about later, that you can market when things slow down, or just to keep your pipeline going, making sure that you have what you need in terms of new leads coming in, name clear email sent and send outs. And then I'm kind of jumbled here, guys. Sorry, I'm kind of thrown off by my slides not working. One thing to think about here is how you can market yourself out in the world of physician recruiting. And we did some work with LinkedIn last year. We didn't get a ton of responses. So one thing you could kind of focus on is building up your LinkedIn profile and spending a pretty minimal amount of time on it, but just creating that content around the jobs that you're working on will bring people to you. And the last thing I wanted to mention on that is making sure that you're professional. So going into physician recruiting or going into RMS and making sure that your bio is filled out for your physicianrecruiting.com profile. That's something that a lot of people don't think about. But if somebody's looking you up on our website or clicks on your picture beside our job post, that's one way for them to get to know you. And what we're really trying to create in the marketing world is, building trust, availability, and professionalism before they even hear your voice on the phone, right? So trying to get your name out there, trying to get your, through all of our avenues, but trying to get your professionalism out there. So if they do come in contact with you, they say, oh yeah, I've heard about this person, or I've heard this person is, I've seen this person's job posting on LinkedIn, or I looked them up on the website. So, think about, it's really easy, I think, to get isolated in your own world with physician recruiting, and you're at home and you're just kind of going through your day. But I think that if you think about all of the different ways you can have touch points with potential candidates, that's an easy way for you to build trust in the market and look really available, right? And if you put knowledgeable content out there, even through the Crush program on our website, those are kind of the bare bones part of it. But if you wanted to add on even, the LinkedIn part of it, or we have our blog posts as well. You could write a blog post for us about anything, really, any jobs. We can get more into that, but any jobs or any specialties that you work with, that you have insight about, that creates content around your name that's searchable on Google and the internet. So those kind of are the three pillars that we work with to make sure that you look really great in the market. You're available, you're trusted, and you're professional. And, we just really want to focus on the key things that really support that, right? Which are our email marketing, our website, our Crush program, and our blog posts. So just wanted to sum that up for you and kind of pull back the curtain on that, and then go over like a couple of stats too before I pass it off to Britt. So for our about 50% of our placements come from data mining. So thinking about what you can do in terms of, email marketing, getting people inside of our CRM, our RMS, getting them emailed with your job postings, getting our job postings out to specific specialties within our platforms like Doc Cafe and hospital recruiting through our Crush program, and then making sure that, you're available for marketing every single week, right? So think about it as part of your call list, your daily plan, your weekly plan, like your call list, everything that you work on, incorporate marketing to that, because we know that many of you are doing marketing, but a lot of you aren't. So, we see more success with people, of course, that are putting, some bait on the end of their hook and putting it out there into the market. So I just wanted to bring that up as well. So the 50% of our placements are data mining. We've got, about 400,000 a year spent on our job ads with sources and sourcing. And then I had one more stat on my slide here. Oh yeah, we had about 28,000 leads to date this year. So just thinking about that in terms of there's more leads than we could work. So, they're already in there waiting for you. And it's just about the right job at the right time and making sure that you're, in there using that tool every time you can to get those jobs out into inboxes, because we know email marketing works, right? And we know that Crush really works. We see a lot of responses. Now we send way more emails than most businesses, and that's just kind of what it takes. It's our model. But we do see a lot of responses in terms of our Crush and email marketing that are really good responses, right? So, yeah, I just wanted to go over those three stats, and then let me see if I had anything else. Yeah, just the marketing mindset, just making sure that you're keeping your head wrapped around what you can do every single week to market yourself. That's really what's going to give you the leg up on this, in this industry when you're thinking about being trusted. I think that we see the recruiters that do that, they become known more quickly in the marketplace. They get more responses. And so I just wanted to point that out. I think that's all that's on my list right now. I'm going to go through those slides and see if I missed anything while you guys are chatting. Britt, are you ready to jump in with your stuff?
Yes, I am. Thank you, Sammy.
Okay, go for it.
All right, hi, everybody. For anyone who might not know me, my name is Britt, and I work with Sammy and Dee in the marketing department. I am the marketing coordinator for Curari. So my role is all about making sure that I'm getting your jobs in front of the right candidates in the most effective way possible and helping you guys make sure that you're doing the same thing. So today I want to walk you through a few things that we can do to make your outreach and your job postings more effective for you, and just give you some insight into the tools that we have to help you succeed. So as Sammy was saying, there is an entire marketing engine running for you behind the scenes between our $350,000 budget across job boards, Google Ads, social media campaigns, and other channels. Your jobs are getting visibility 24/7. There are some things that you can do to make your outreach even more effective and get the most out of the tools that we have for you. So I want to share some tips that aren't just about posting jobs to our website, but there are some small tweaks and strategies that can save you time, improve your response rates, and make your jobs more attractive. And by the end of this, my goal for you is that we can all walk away with a few actionable steps that you can implement right away. So let's start with the job ad itself. There are a few things that you can do to maximize efficiency in your message. So one small example that I see a lot is redundancy in the job mailers and in the job ads, like using phrases like actively seeking or currently seeking. In that case, it's a good example because you can totally remove that adverb and just say the position is seeking, and that's cleaner and sharper, and that kind of thing matters when a doctor is opening their phone and looking at an email quickly. Because remember, the doctors that we're reaching out to are extremely busy, and usually they only have a few seconds to scan their emails. So clean, concise messages immediately communicate what matters to the doctor. And of course, as always, with our job ads, we want to think about lifestyle, location, compensation. These are the big drivers for candidates. If a salary is available, put that in the headline. That will instantly grab attention. If we do not have salary, you want to focus on your lifestyle and location. So when you're writing these ads, think to yourself, what can I offer this position right now? And that's about making it as easy as possible for them to see the value in your opportunity in the least amount of time as possible. So one tip that I found useful when I'm going through and editing these jobs is to frame the ad from the candidate's perspective. For example, instead of listing all the job requirements first, start with what the position will get out of the role. You know, the benefits, the community, the lifestyle, and then we can follow up with qualifications and the bullet points. And that will catch their attention and immediately feel relevant to them. So those are just some tips for the job ads themselves as you're writing them and thinking about the language that you're using. And then I wanted to go into what Sammy was saying about the Curari Crush. That is one of our hottest candidate sources. Over the past years, we have had thousands of candidates respond to jobs through Crush. We see them come through every day. All day, B is in there in our inbox going through and marking Crush responses from jobs that you guys are sending out. So try to think of Crush as like your job ad box office, like a movie box office, right? So some jobs are guaranteed blockbusters like family medicine, internal medicine. You're almost always going to get responses from those. But there are also jobs that you wouldn't necessarily expect to draw huge attention, but the right combination of language about lifestyle, location, compensation can make them explode. I've personally seen an ENT job near Chicago get over 60 responses because the job ad mentioned that a candidate can make over $1 million. So there's power in how we're wording these ads and how we're focusing on those three big things. So I wanted to give you some stats on the Crush. Like I said, we've gotten thousands of responses in the past few years. And like Sammy was saying, a lot of people are using this, but not everyone is using this. And I really want to encourage you to use it. In September, I was looking at our stats and only 9 recruiters have used the Crush program out of all of us. So that's something you can really get on. You know, you can send your best jobs every week. I recommend sending at least 2 jobs a week to your manager and getting them pushed through the Crush program. And then you'll just see those responses start coming in and you'll have all these extra candidates to work with. So like I said, Crush is not just for high volume response jobs. Even if it's a job that only gets a few replies, those are still quality leads that you didn't have to source yourself. So it's just free engagement for you. Are there any questions about the QRA Crush program?
Yeah, this is John. Sorry, this might just new to this, but what's the difference between a regular mailer and a Crush mailer in terms of getting out jobs?
So the Crush mailer is more targeted, and we are putting those directly through our job board sources. So the process is essentially you are sending the job to your manager. Your manager is sending it over to me, and I am making a personalized, targeted job ad that I am pushing through our job boards directly. So that's the difference, is that the RMS mailers are going to the position's emails, but these QRA Crush mailers are going to them through the job board. So while they are on the job board, on their account, they are getting these pop-ups that are messages inside of that platform that they can just click and open, and it's going to their email. So we pay for it, so it goes to both places. So they are getting essentially double, the job is getting marketed twice and in a more direct way to them.
And how many of those are we allowed to do a week for recruiter?
There is no limit currently on how many QRA Crush jobs you can push in. Your manager will decide which jobs come to me, and from there, that's how I push them through. So you can submit as many as you feel necessary.
So the process, John, is you find a job you want to do a Crush mailer on, and then you write up or you send it to your manager for approval. That's our way of trying to keep that content really high value, because we want to send really high value through those channels so we can get a lot of responses and become a trusted source so people will open our emails.
Yep. So your manager is making the final call on which jobs go through the Crush, but you can submit the jobs that you feel have good lifestyle, location, or compensation details.
And we just do that via email to our managers, or send it via email. We don't need to send it through any RMS.
Yes, that's right. You'll email your manager with the job link and tell them that you would like to Crush this job.
Okay.
Are there any more questions?
Yeah, Britt, I had one more question on the Crush program. I think we may have discussed this before, so I apologize if I'm forgetting. But, you know, obviously, I really like to use the Crush program and should use it more. But in terms of on some jobs, like I distinctly remember last year when I still was working with AllTrue, I'd sent out a Crush for their hospitalist position, and I kind of made a critical mistake there, not listing that it wasn't open to visa candidates. And so I try to be good about that now. But is there a way to filter it specifically on .cafe to where, you know, if a job is not open to visa candidates, or if it's not listed as J1 or H1B, to kind of filter, I guess, which candidates, or is there a filter when you send out Crush into inboxes to not include visa candidates? Because on that one, I think I got like 25 responses, and I think like 21 or so were J1 or H1B, which they couldn't sponsor at the time.
Yeah, that's a good question, Evan. So I personally recommend putting that information in the job mailer itself, or I'm sorry, in the job ad itself. So positions are reading that. because there is a filter, but I have been informed by the people at Doc Cafe and some of our other sources that most candidates do not actually go through and fill out those details for themselves when they are making their accounts. So there's a good chance that that information isn't accurate. And if we were to use the filters, it would just filter out a lot of the candidates that we do want. So
For sure.
that is not a filter that I use. I do recommend, if there are very specific exceptions, to put it in the job ad itself. And I do also want to make the note that when you're getting these responses, even if the candidates that are coming to you are not candidates you can push to that direct job, they are still your candidates that may be workable in another way. So, you know, we can cast a wide net, and then hopefully you'll get a few that you can push through to the job that you're advertising. But either way, you're getting your name out in front of people and connecting with more positions that we're putting into RMS.
For sure. Thank you.
I
Does
think
that
the
answer
more
your question?
I was going to say the more details, the better on that one. If you are really trying to weed that out, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
For
And
sure.
and we wouldn't want to put that in the headline, like no visa candidates, but we can definitely say, you know, we can word it into the actual ad itself in a way that will hopefully help filter that for you.
Yeah, I've tried to
Not
include that in
accepted.
bullet points on the moving forward, just for hospitalists. You know, for other specialties, like you said, I like moving them around to other stuff, but on hospitalists, you know, the 2026 J1s, if that's the case, I'll try to make a note in there that it's not available. So
Yeah, I definitely know what you mean. And I wish it was a little bit more accurate, but they did tell me that we shouldn't use those filters because doctors just don't fill it out. Are there any more questions about the crush? All right. One other thing that I wanted to talk about, it's a good thing that you brought up the 2026 residents, Evan, because I want to talk about Profiles database. And I have some exciting news for us. We now have early access to the 2027 candidates. So that means that you can get your jobs in front of the doctors that are graduating next year before anybody else. We have paid for early access so that you guys have access to that. And that will give you an advantage for next year's residents. So if you're not using Profiles database, Profiles is great for targeting residents specifically, and it works very well when it's combined with Crushed and LinkedIn for kind of a multi-touch approach on your job ads. If you don't know the process for using Profiles database, just get with one of us after the meeting and we can walk you through it. I want to make sure everybody knows how to use that because there's a process for getting logged in. But yeah, if you're not currently using Profiles database, I highly recommend using it.
I'll add too about Profiles. So with the 2027 and Profiles in general, check back on that. You know, it's they add new residents to that over time. So make sure you're checking back on those specialties that you have jobs for. Make it a part of your marketing plan every week that you have profiles to check off when appropriate, because it's not just all ready to go now for 2027. It will build over the coming months.
Yeah, they said that these are the first preliminary candidates that have signed up for the site. So we have access to the docs that are there now, but we have been informed to definitely check back at least monthly to make sure that you're getting the new candidates that are coming in too. And that will continue pretty much throughout all of 2026.
Does anybody have any Profiles questions?
yeah, I actually had a Profiles question as well, just in terms of the ones that have, obviously some of them have criteria at the bottom or guidelines, which obviously, sometimes things have changed for them, any number of things there. But as far as that, info that's been gathered, is that directly through Profiles? They went on Profiles and submitted it, or are they pulling it from other job sites where they can put it in? Because I have got the question a lot of times, which isn't that hard to, move past. But as far as, how did you get my information? Or this is what I'm looking for now, or, just some general questions, or not being familiar at all with Profiles. Like I said, it's something you can work around, but I didn't know kind of if they were direct response to Profiles, or if it was something that was coming in, like they were harvesting it from other job sites. 'Cause I have noticed obviously a great deal of variance as well in what people are open to, just like you do with Dot Cafe or anything else, where they have 2 states listed, but realistically they're open to like 7 or 8 or a lot of different stuff there.
I know their primary way of collecting data is through their staff. So, you know, the exact means as to how they do that, I'm not really sure, but I know that they, you know, work with residents one-on-one to collect information. Now, are they using other sources? I don't know, but, you know, I know that if they are directly coming in contact either through their website platform or their staff, I know reaches out to residents as well, resident programs to try to get residents on board. So they are making one-to-one connections there.
Yes, it is essentially a group of physician interviewers. So they are contacting these residents, giving them surveys, interviews, connecting one-on-one, things like that. And I know that that's a way that they get their information. As far as anything else going on with their advertising, I'm not too sure.
They try to connect some I'd have to look back at my notes, but I know that they try to connect, you know, the personal information, their personal contact information, you know, where they are, what kind of practices they want to focus on, you know, of course, their educational background, and then like what are their, you know, qualifications and kind of career goals there.
Yeah.
For sure. Thank you. I was just wondering on that, just from a profiles mailer perspective, just as far as when I'm filtering to send it out, you know, making it wider or more narrow or whatever, and accuracy information. So that's helpful to know. Thank you.
Yeah, it's a good question.
Any more questions about profiles?
Something I'll say real quick is if you're doing a mailer in the database, you owe it to yourself to go ahead and queue it up in profiles too. You've already got the content. It's only going to take a couple minutes. I don't think that happens nearly as frequently as it should. And it's a tremendous resource. We make a lot of placements from profiles responses. So if you've got a job that can take new grads and you're not utilizing profiles, you're really missing out.
Yeah.
Hey, Ian, it's
profiles.
It's Jeremiah. I'm gonna add in one thing about profiles. If you're looking to go to the next level, or you're looking to go to the next goal, I know for myself, about a quarter of my placements come from profiles database. So it's a really easy way, like what, you know, Ian and the team are saying about not utilizing profiles database enough, to maximize it like on every mailer you do. Even if it's 10% to your placements, it's a really easy way to add 1 or 2 placements a year that could bump you up into the next goal level to get you, you know, much closer to where you want to be. And so, yeah, I fully agree with the team. Not utilized near enough, and if you utilize it with every mailer, it's going to help you tremendously. And it's, yeah, that's all I wanted to say about that.
Yes, and I actually have a checklist that I'm going to be sending out soon that will help you guys. It's just a 5-step job marketing checklist that will help you with the order of this. You know, like Ian said, you have the job ad queued up, so there are channels you can push that through. You can write your job through the web and then enter your job mailer, submit the job to your manager for CureRE Crush if it has, you know, lifestyle, location, compensation details. And then you can send that job through to the new grads on Profiles database and post the job on your LinkedIn account to get your name out there. And even if you're not getting engagement on those LinkedIn posts, like Sammy was saying, it still makes it so that someone can go to your LinkedIn profile and see you posting these jobs that are relevant to them. So like I said, when you're looking at this from a physician's standpoint, they want to know who you are. They want to know that you can be trusted. They want to be able to go to our website and learn about you. They want to be able to go to your social media account, because that's such a huge thing in the digital marketing industry these days, and just digital job search in general. Is just, you know, you want to check out somebody's social media account and see what this person what this person's credentials are like. So I do want to encourage you guys to use LinkedIn more often as well. It's a very powerful way to connect with candidates who are searching for jobs. And it's just a good way to market yourself. Even, like I said, even if your jobs are not getting comments or you're not getting direct hits from that, it's still marketing for you. So those are the big things, cleaning up your messaging, highlighting the lifestyle, location, and compensation, and then just leveraging all your channels, taking advantage of that early access to 2027 profiles, using the Crush at least twice a week. And all of that combined with the marketing engine that's working for you behind the scenes will make sure that you are getting as many candidates as you possibly can. So I actually want to, before I pass this off to B here, I would like to challenge everyone here to use the Curari Crush consistently over the next 2 weeks. For the next 2 weeks, I would like to challenge everyone here to post at least 2 jobs to the Curari Crush per week. And we'll just look at your responses and you'll see, like, I'm sure that you'll see return on what you're sending out. We see it every single day. And, you know, we'll be able to see that as well. And we can work with you on it from there on how we want to target for your marketing.
Challenge.
Challenge, Crush challenge. Before I pass this off, I'm going to go ahead and send off this 5-step job marketing checklist. That should have just hit your email. If it hasn't yet, then it'll be there in just a second. And that will just give you some direction on the order that you can do this then.
And keep that, keep that handy, print it out, write it out, whatever you need to do. Just put it on your desk and have it there every week. And you can just, it'll become a part of your marketing mindset pretty quickly if you have it handy. All right.
Yeah.
Britt, you ready to pass it off?
Before I pass this off to B? All right,
Wait,
you're all good to go, B.
Okay, I'm ready to go. Well, it's nice to meet anybody that I haven't met before. If you're not familiar, I'm B. I obviously work with Sammy and Britt in the marketing department. I've been with Curari for 5.5 years now, and I love my job. And so I just want to kind of give you guys some insight as to the job that I love, as well as share some tips and best practices for you guys that can help you succeed here at Curari. Strong recruiting starts with strong data. I make sure the leads flow smoothly so that you can do what you do best. So we're going to jump in with some general lead entry insights. I want to talk about like the prioritization of leads a little bit. So I do start with the hottest leads first. As soon as I get in at 8 a.m., I'm pretty much just assigning leads when I walk through the door. I start with the PR.com leads that come through the hopper. Those are automatic. I screen those candidates to make sure they're actually doctors for you guys, and then I assign those. And now if they're not a direct hit on somebody's job, all of our leads, including PR.com leads, are assigned at random. After I move from the PR.com leads, I move to Crush and auto mailer responses, and then finally the direct applications from our sources before entering sourced leads that are not direct hits on your jobs. And I enter them this way so that the hottest leads are reaching you guys the fastest. Something that is really important in my role is a sense of urgency and understanding the prioritization of those leads where they lie and making sure that I'm getting those to you guys as quickly as possible, not just so that, of course, we're getting the machine moving and all of that good stuff, but it's so that those doctors are hearing from you guys ASAP. I mean, the sooner that a doctor is hearing from you about a job that they've applied to directly, specifically, the better. Leads come in throughout the day via the Curari information info box and PR.com through the hopper after I'm done with the bulk of the day's entry. And I routinely check throughout the day to ensure those hot leads and direct job responses are getting assigned. So make sure you are refreshing your homepage all day, every day, because you never know when you're going to get a hit on a direct job response on one of your jobs, or it's just in general, like I found a lead and I've assigned it to you randomly. So definitely make sure you're refreshing that page and you're checking in on the lead assignment. Something else that I want to touch on in regard to the leads is there are lead increases throughout the year. Particularly in January following the holidays, just like all of us, we get really excited. We've got our New Year's resolutions. Doctors do that too. But something else really important, or I'm sorry, another time that's important to highlight is August through October, which means right now. If there is any time to capitalize on an influx of candidates, it's now. You have 2 weeks left in the third quarter to take advantage of the influx of candidates this time of year, and we do not want you missing out. Like Sammy was saying, we already have over 28,000 leads to date this year in RMS. We have more leads than we know what to do with. So there's never any shortage of responses, and there's never any shortage of leads for you guys to pick from. Was there any questions about that before I move on? Cool. Something else to note is that they're rare, but I'm human and duplicates happen, as well as oopsies like attaching the wrong profile.
No way.
Attaching the wrong profile or CV to a doc in RMS. I just want to encourage everybody, never hesitate to let me know right away or as soon as you catch it if there's a problem like this, and I will fix it for you as soon as possible. I try extremely hard, and I have so many fail safes that I put in place every day to ensure I'm giving you guys the most accurate data possible, but I am not ChatGPT. In fact, actually, I think I'm better than ChatGPT, but I digress.
There's a
I'm
lot
not
of
a
data for
robot.
sure. Yeah.
There's a lot of data. I mean, there are days where I'm entering close to 200 leads, and that's a lot of data for me to push through.
Can I point something out really quickly? Okay, so one thing to also think about with leads is, by the time B leaves at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, most days, and the leads aren't checked again until 8 a.m. So if you think about a Friday, that's 5 o'clock on Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So Mondays were just leads all day until the end of the day, right?
Yeah.
And then Tuesday were leads almost until the end of the day. And then Wednesday, what do you think? About 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, something like that?
Yeah.
Thursdays, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock. Fridays, maybe noon, 1 o'clock, something like that.
Right.
For people just to get their heads wrapped around. Now that's the bulk of the leads, right? They'll
Right.
continue throughout the day, but that's that 5 o'clock on sort of constant entering. So sorry, B, go ahead.
No,
Just wanted to point that
totally.
out.
No, and to add on that too, the leads that I'm giving you guys, if you're getting one of those, looking for the right word, if you get one of those leads kind of randomly in the afternoon, there's a high chance that that is a direct job hit. Most of the leads that we receive after I've entered the bulk for the day and I'm done with our sourced leads, which the sourced leads, if you don't know what I mean by that, I just mean general leads that are not direct hits on any kind of jobs. But those leads that I'm assigning in the afternoon, 9 times out of 10 are direct job hits. So if you see one of those hit your homepage in the middle of the afternoon, you need to jump on it for sure.
And in real time. And in real time.
Yes.
Because you've already gotten through that bulk of the
Yep.
leads that have come in. Yeah.
Yep. And that was what I was going to wrap this particular segment up with one more time, is just encouraging everybody to refresh that homepage all day, every day. For my next segment, I want to talk about some best practices for SMS or text messaging success. So Sammy and I have both picked up tons of insights over the past few years regarding SMS usage. And our biggest tip for keeping your phone numbers healthy and off of carrier blacklists is to refrain from sending the same message over and over. Now, this can look like copying and pasting the same message to many doctors. Even if you replace the name in the greeting, this can still flag your number with some carriers. So just make sure that you're changing up the wording to your doctors, even your clients, if you're sending a lot of the same kind of thing to clients. Like I said, even just changing the name on that is not enough. You want to try to switch up that language a little bit. Another example of repetitive SMS usage would be using a signature in your text messages. So if you're like, hey, this is so-and-so, here's a job I think you might be interested in, and then you leave a a signature that's very similar to, for instance, your email signature, that's also something that can get flagged by carriers. It's basically anything repetitive, anything that you're repeating over and over again. So please, please do not use a signature on your SMS texts. Just make sure you're introducing yourself in the text. They already have your number. You can give them your email if they need it. And then again, like just those messages that you're blasting out to folks, just make sure we're changing the language on those, because sending the same or similar text can and likely will get your get your number blacklisted eventually, even if only with certain carriers. So please be sure to change your wording and language in text to your docs. And this is because this is a newer development as the FCC puts policies into place that are supposed to help cut down on spam texts from illicit or shady businesses. So it's not something we are dictating for you guys. It's quite literally the government trying to sort this out.
And I would add too that really I think the way I understand it, and B, correct me if I'm wrong, but the way I understand it is too many of the exact same text messages within too small of a time window.
Correct.
So, it's about robo texting over and over and over again.
Right.
So if you have 2 or 3 different messages for the same job or whatever you're trying to get out there to people, just switch up the language a little bit and get 3 or 4 sent out and then switch it up again, or 4 or 5. You can play around with that. We don't see our numbers on blacklists very often, knock on wood.
Right.
So I think the practices that we're doing are working, but we just want to keep it as healthy as we can.
Yes. Yeah, because I would say maybe once a year I get somebody who's been blacklisted by one particular carrier, and in some cases we have to replace a person's phone number when that happens, and that's something we want to avoid at all costs. So that's why I'm putting so much emphasis on this for you guys, because changing your phone number, whether it's a business or a personal phone number, is a big pain in the butt, but especially with your business, when your doctors already know your phone number, your clients already know your phone number. So we put a lot of emphasis on this just so that you guys do not have to deal with that, because it's a big mess. Were there any questions on anything regarding RingCentral or SMS messages?
I was just going to ask a quick question. So, like, if you have a template in RingCentral, so basically you're saying we should not go through a call list and just use that template for every candidate that we're trying to reach. Okay.
Yeah, that is correct. Make sure you are switching up that language a little bit for every text that you send that you can, within reason.
Okay, thank you.
I have a question too.
Sure.
See, when we switch up that language, would that be because it's kind of like robo umbrella? So could we switch up like just a small V to and? Would that make the machine, so to speak, not pick it up? Or
we don't know.
We don't know
that
for sure.
answer.
Yeah, that's pretty minute.
I change a couple
unfortunately.
sentences. I
Yeah,
change a couple sentences at least, a beginning sentence, a middle, and end, maybe. It's going to be the same content, so you don't have to revamp the whole message, but you just don't want to stamp the same thing over and over and over again 60 times in 10 minutes type of thing.
See, I do that, and that's something I need. I do. I'll send a text message, let them know to look for my email for more detail, but now that this has all come about, I'm going to have to be really careful about how I do that.
Well, I wouldn't focus on it
You guys,
to
it
the
could
point
be
of.
as easy. I'm sorry, Sammy. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I wouldn't think about it to the point of where you have to totally change your approach. I would just not hit, I wouldn't hit, 50 people like that. I do 10 and then I might switch a sentence, or 2, and then 15 and then switch a sentence or 2. You don't have to revamp anything. If it's not broke, don't fix it. But, what we're hearing from our sources is don't, send out the exact same text messages over and over again with a signature that says, Tina, physician recruiter at Curari is what we're hearing. Our best practices is what we're trying to bring to light here.
Okay, because I've been using that template feature, and when I do it, I just hit the template and then direct them to an email with more details. So good to know. I'm going to switch that up a little bit, about every 10, right?
Yeah.
We don't really know. We don't really know. But 10,
Out
20,
there in
something like
mystery.
that.
Hey,
All
Tina
right,
and
got it.
anybody
Thank
else, I
you.
was just going to mention that you could just keep that right there in the bait text area too. Just like literally copy and paste it. And then as you paste it, change one sentence, and then you have it right there in
That's
your
all you
bait
got to do.
text area saved for the job. And then you can just like kind of rotate through those 2 or 3 sentences. And it could be as simple as saying a lot of green space to a lot of brown space or something like that. Who knows? And I
Hello,
mentioned
Florida.
brown. I mentioned brown space only because you had just said doo-doo, and I'll leave it at that. Thank you.
Yeah, don't put doo-doo in your text messages.
Please don't.
We
both
Good
get
question,
legal
Tina.
trouble, but
Good question.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah,
I got a
just stay.
question. Just Ring Central question. Any call that comes into my Ring Central that's not my direct line, there's never, it's just a blank sound. I'll answer it and not even a recorded message. I mean, I assume these are just robocalls on my number, but is there something to that?
You'd
I
have to
mean, in terms
call.
of-
Yeah, you'd have to call. So we only have, this is the thing about Ring Central is, I only have access, we only have access to the back end where we can see what your settings are. We can look at your calls, but that's about it. So anything that you're experiencing with something that's off in Ring Central, you've got to call them directly because they can get into your back end and see exactly why this is happening. And that sounds like, to me, something that might be a little bit off there. I'm not really sure. So you might want to give them a call and just kind of have them go over your account real quick.
Okay, thank you.
were there any other questions regarding Ring Central? Okay, cool. Well, I will go ahead and move on then. My last segment here that I wanted to touch on is in regards to profiles database and mid-level leads. Once again, as Britt has already discussed, we really encourage everybody to get the most out of profiles database. As Ian was saying, line that up every time you are writing a job. And I want to let everyone know, because I'm the person you reach out to for those profiles database requests unless I'm out. It is absolutely no trouble. I am happy to help. It takes no time out of my day for you guys to send those requests. So never be like, oh, is B too busy to help me with this? No, I am never too busy to help with a profiles database request. It takes 2 seconds to send to you guys. So please never hesitate. I do try hard to stay vigilant on those profiles database requests and other things like duplicate doc merge requests, or if there's something else wrong with one of you guys' leads. But if you haven't heard from me in like an hour, I might have missed it, or I didn't see your email, or I didn't see your message, give me a call. Please don't ever hesitate if there's ever an issue like that. Just call me up if you haven't heard from me in a while. But I do try very hard not to make that happen. And then something else I wanted to add in here is, when possible, especially during any kind of slow seasons for us, Britt and I try to enter mid-level candidates whenever we can in our spare time. And so those are just extra candidates for you guys to pull from. We don't want you to sleep on mid-levels just because of that lower placement fee. And at times they can be quicker placements for you guys. So that's just something I wanted to touch on for you guys. We also enter our source mid-levels daily now, and we assign the ones with phone numbers or CVs to you guys. And you've probably noticed that. It's just like bonus candidates that we're trying to throw you guys' way. But yeah, that's it. That's all I have. Did anybody have any questions about anything else? Awesome. Well, this was a lot of fun.
All right. Anybody? Sounds like we're good. No more questions. I'll send out my PowerPoint here after the meeting, and then Britt sent out her checklist. Don't forget about your Curari Crush challenge. If anybody needs help with that or has questions, please let us know. And yeah, guys, I hope this was helpful. And if you have anything you want to follow up about, or anything that's personal to you, you want to work on with your LinkedIn, or any way we can help, our motto is really just to be of service to you guys. So let us know how we can be there for you.
Yeah, and
Thank you, guys.
If anyone ever just wants a more personalized breakdown of like your marketing strategies or what you can be doing more or doing better as far as the marketing goes, we can schedule something. So just get with me anytime and we'll work it out. And I'm happy to sit down one-on-one with you.
Thank
I
you.
did have a handful more questions, David, but I mean, I don't want to take everybody's time with them right now because I just had 5 or 6 there that were more specific, or if you will. So, is there any chance? I guess Sammy, Britt, or B, if anybody'd have free time after any time today to discuss.
Oh, we can just hang on for you, Evan. Anybody that wants to stick around can stick around. Anybody that needs to go can go.
Yeah, I'll try to be quick with them as far as getting them out there. But in terms of getting a bio on the website that you were talking about there at the very beginning of the meeting, is that for us personally? Because I did notice, on our website that we have a handful of people that have bios. Is there a way for us to get a bio for ourselves on the website? Because I noticed there's like 4 or 5 that do, and then the rest of us don't. So.
Yeah, and now I'm blanking on it for all of a sudden on how to do it, but it's underneath. I think it's underneath the home tab. Let me think about this for a second. Jerry or Ian, does that popping up for you at all? I can't remember how to do it. I think if you click on, let me see here. I don't remember. I'll send out, why don't I just send out information on that once I figure it out that's like step by step. So then you'll have it in your email and you can save it, and that'd be helpful, I think. I'll do that.
Yeah, for sure. And then I had another question about how long jobs like stay on the website once they're published. The only reason this jumps to my pitch is because I do actually have one client that I really have to kind of stay on top with CD Putney, because they send me job details. I mean, they'll actively check in and be like, hey, like, is this on your website, or where's it at? Can I take a look at it? And so, I'd noticed recently, like, for example, a hospitalist job I have with Phoebe Tucker. It was published last year in April, but I don't see it on the website anymore. Like, it doesn't populate under hospitalist jobs in Georgia. So I didn't know if there was a timeline that, like, after it was published, that it had to be rewritten and resaved to get it to stay on there, or if it automatically dropped off, or kind of how that worked with published jobs.
I think that might be an Ian or Jerry, or if Tadas is here, I don't think he is, but answer, because I'm under the impression that if it's active, it stays on the website. We did just remove a lot of jobs. We used to have kind of a different philosophy about how we handled that, but we just removed a lot of jobs that are no longer active. So I don't know if Ian wants to speak to that, or.
I'll jump in really quick with this one. We recently, Evan, made a change to the PR.com, tying it to RMS, where jobs, if they're active, if they're listed as active and or hold status, and they have enough bullet points to be on the web, they're to be on the web on PR.com. If you find one that's not and it fits that criteria, send it to your manager so we could take a look behind the hood and see why it's not. With that said, I think all of you guys have been in that situation where you're talking to a candidate and they're like, they tell you they responded to job number 96202, and you pull it up and that job's not even in RMS anymore, it's dead. And then they pull up job number 121, that one's dead. Then they pull up whatever, you get the point. A lot of dead jobs. Well, we recently made a change where we removed almost all of the dead jobs, where now we have a calendar that if you were to put filled by other on the web or in RMS, that job will be removed from the website within the next 90-day cycle. It won't be on the web for longer than 90 days, because we could still use it to pull in candidates, but we won't have a situation where there's going to be thousands of jobs that are no longer available in RMS. We literally took about 9,000 jobs off of our website, maybe even a little bit more. Maybe it's closer to 10,000. We went from, I think, 12,000 something to about 3,000. And so now all the jobs on our website are active or recently dead. And so, for instance, when we did the switch, we ran the recently dead numbers, and there's only like 200 jobs of all, not even, I think it was under 200. And previously, there were literally like 8,000 jobs that weren't available in RMS anymore. So we made that programming change probably about a month ago. And so, Evan, to answer your question, they should be on there as long as they're active or hold. They have the 5 bullet points. They have the sellable point, and or they'll remain for 90 days thereafter. And that's a great date, because you never know. These clients that place somebody, the job could fall off too. So, but I think all of us know how to transition from, oh, I'm sorry, that job's not available, but let's talk about these jobs. And so we're going to keep those up there for that 90-day period, and that's how long they would stay theoretically.
For sure. Yeah, and I did have a couple that I don't think are showing up right now, but I'll just shoot an email over to Dave or and just copy you and Ian as far as those that weren't showing up right now, and kind of going hand in hand with that question, because I know this is part of the discussion, I think, around that time, as far as like the owned and exclusive jobs, like showing up different points of contact, like a different recruiter on, say, a job ad, like as far as call this person for this job for owned and exclusive jobs. I have still noticed, like with that, some that it lists different recruiters for like owned and exclusive jobs for somebody to call, and I didn't know if that was a change that was going to be made. I know that I discussed that some with Dave a little while back, but as far as if it's your owned or exclusive client and you have the job posting and it goes to the website, it's displaying a different recruiter to call, like if the job's on the web. Is that intentional or?
I think when we built the website, for us to keep track of, how fast owned clients happen and featured clients happen and owned jobs, and putting that and attaching all of that together was technology that was like, it was going to take a while to figure that out.
Yeah.
And the thought process behind that was, let's just get them to call, and then the recruiter can pass it to the person that it needs to go to. And it just, it just kind of worked out that way. We can definitely take that into consideration. And, we have Tadas now. At that point, I don't think we really had an in-house programmer. But yeah, I totally see what you're saying, and I hear you on that. And I'll put that down on my list.
For sure. Yeah. And then kind of the last one there was the Curari Advantage PDF we have for clients. It's kind of pivoting more to a client side. So I don't know if this would be the appropriate marketing question or appropriate roundtable for that. But as far as the Curari Advantage PDF, I know I've used that a lot in the past with connecting with clients. Is that still up to date, the one that's in RMS as far as the numbers and statistics on it? And I guess going kind of hand in hand with that, is there a way to add a report? I know we have a report for placements by client by date. Is there a way to add one by chance for specialty, a report on that? Because here I know I've asked you for those numbers before and can get them pretty quickly, but just in general for, I know I've talked to clients before and they're like, oh, do you place orthopedic surgeons, or how many have you placed this year? Where have you placed orthopedic surgeons? What type of recruiting, what do you guys kind of, and of course, I'll work around those and use the information I have, but for having kind of some numbers or statistics on positions placed in a year, things of that nature, I do get some questions from clients when discussing that with them. So I just didn't know with the Curari Advantage PDF that kind of the numbers on there were so accurate. I just wanted to see what a place about specialty.
Yeah, I think if I remember correctly, it said something like around 20,000 a year visiting the website. We had around a $300,000 or $350,000 marketing budget. Those are still pretty accurate. And then we place hundreds of physicians a year. I think some of the point of that is not to be too specific, if that makes sense.
Yeah, for sure.
We just want to be, say that we care about, sourcing. We spend money to source good candidates for you, and we do make placements. So I think some of that's meant to be a little bit vague. But yeah, I can take a look at that too.
Thank you. And so I guess I did miss one there. As far as the emails and blacklisting or spam there, going to spam, I didn't know if it's typically more so by domain name or if it's more so by individual email. For example, when I send a name clearance through RMS, a lot of times if it's me directly sending it to a client, I'll hit spam, which luckily, with calling and, forwarding the email, I've had a lot more luck with that, forwarding that name clearance when I'm following up and giving a call with being able to get candidates clear. But I do know that my personal email, so if I have a colleague send me a name clearance for my, one of my clients, and then I forward that on from, my @physicianrecruiting.com email, I very rarely hit spam versus the n.curarigroup.inc that goes out through RMS, hitting spam a lot. I just didn't know if that was more of a domain name thing, if there's anything I could try to adjust to maybe hit spam a little bit less, because I have noticed even with my personal clients, if I send it through RMS, I'm going into their spam versus when I speak to them on the phone versus when I send it directly through my email, personal email, but it does not. So.
Yeah. So this is a very complicated issue. So we have domain names that are different for our name clearing emails than our personal emails. And that intention is to protect physicianrecruiting.com at all costs. It's a very, very serious situation to have, you know, physicianrecruiting.com be threatened to be blacklisted. You know, once something's blacklisted, we no longer have it. We no longer have control over it. It's gone until they're ready to release it. So the reason that your domain name is physicianrecruiting.com as your personal email is to make sure that that's protected at all costs. And so you can get things through when you need to. We send so many name clearing emails. I don't even know the stats every single day, that the nature of our business is, it's threatened. The domains are threatened a little bit just by the mass amount of volume that we do. So what happens is it's not on our side, right? Because we can't control what our firewalls are that we're encountering. We can't control what the client has in place. So really the key to your success is making sure that when you work with a client that they're allowing your name clears to come through, right? So they're allowing those domains to come through. So it still does take that personal touch. So if you go in and, you know, send shotgun out 50 name clearing emails and, you know, some of them don't go through, the reason that could be is because the client's protecting themselves from that. So, you know, you've got to work it from both sides. You've got to send the name clear email, and then you've got to follow up with the client to make sure that that's getting through if it's not, because we just do so much mass email that it's, you know, safeguarded in some ways, but it takes that personal touch to make sure that we're not getting caught in their firewall.
For sure. Absolutely.
Does that make
That's
sense?
fine.
Does that answer your question?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's kind of what my thought was with, you know, the InDoctor group and how many we send, but I just wanted to bring it up too for anybody that doesn't do it. I mean, the amount I get cleared via a phone call or like an additional email as opposed to like hitting reply. I've noticed that, you know, if you were to go and send a name clear and you were to reply on that email to send it on to a client as opposed to forwarding it, you know, with the second email on a name clearance, I've had a lot more response on those, because those then ping over and come into the regular inbox versus spam. So I would definitely give that advice to anyone, or at least from my experience, for sure.
Yeah, I get that. I totally get that. It's just kind of the strategy of doing business, you know, like with the amount of candidates and name clears that we send.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank
All right,
you.
you got anything
Apologies
else?
for the flurry of questions, but thank you.
No, those are good. Those are great. Yeah. And it's hard for us, you know, to dig in. We want to dig in enough, but not too much. So those specific questions are really good, because I bet other people wonder that as well. So thank you for those. That's great. All right. Well, we'll send out a little summary with the bio instructions, the PowerPoint, the crush reminder. I'll send it out, maybe have Britt send it out, depending on how we want to do it. And then, yeah, that's it. Unless there's anything else. And we're 5 minutes over, so not too bad.
Thank you so much,
All
everyone.
right, y'all. Thank
Thank
you.
you all.
Thanks
that
for
was
listening.